Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Snooty Lounge Podcast. And today I got a special guest. Let me go ahead and punch him in. My guy here, I've known him for a while when I started school. Always was nice, polite, gave me some tips and everything. And he graduated and now he's doing this thing in the big world. So go ahead and tell everybody your name and what's up with everybody.
Hi, everyone. First of all, Rodney, thanks for having me on the pod here today. My name is Michael Nistico, and I graduated in September. Of course, Dan Patrick School of Broadcasting. Wrong side. I'm looking on my screen. I'm pointing here, and it's not on there, but all backwards. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to a nice interview with you.
Oh yeah, for sure. So how we're gonna do it is I'm gonna ask you some questions, and if it's anything that pops up in your mind you want to ask me, we're gonna do it like that. So, but
all right, sounds good.
We're gonna start all the way from the beginning. So tell everybody where you from and how was it growing up?
I'm originally from Long Island, New York. Growing up, I mean, it wasn't easy. I'll be very honest. One parent, my mom, my best friend, love her. But despite not the most ideal and glamorous way of growing up, I wouldn't trade any of it for the world because I really feel like it's what molded me to be the man and the person I am here today. And I have to give a lot of that credit to my mom.
Yeah, was it brother siblings, brothers sisters?
I have a half brother, a younger half brother. Him and I are really close. We have the same father, different moms, but him and I are really close. I don't even think about him as a half brother.
Right.
Like he's my full brother. I love him to death.
Shout out to your brother. So let's get into some sports. What sports did you get into when you was a kid? I know one I'm gonna definitely ask you about. Don't worry.
I played everything. So growing up, I moved around a lot growing up, but one of the places that I lived at on Long Island was right across the street from a baseball field. So there were a lot of kids in the neighborhood. I became a lot, really good friends with almost everyone there. Still good friends with most of them.
Right.
And it was like the Sandlot, the baseball field. It was hard not to, play baseball there. We used the outfield as a football field. But my number one love, of course, is hockey, and I'm sure you're going to ask me about it.
Oh yes, I am. So here go my first question is
yeah.
I know you played with a professional player before. Yes. Tell me about that.
Oh man, yes. So I played hockey with Colt Noor. He was a former Ranger. I played with the Maple Leafs as well. I think he bounced around a little bit, but it's so cool. I mean, he played with the Rangers, and that's my favorite team. So I was just doing some like pickup stuff with some friends. We would just play every weekend. We scheduled it. Became like a big thing. We had like a big group of us guys that were just there to play. We just wanted to play hockey, just have some fun with friends. We played outdoors, and one of the guys that was playing with us, his sister is married to Colt Noor. So
nice.
Crazy, right? So he was trying to get him for the longest time. He was like, I'm trying to get Colton. I'm trying to get Colton. And one day he was like, I got Colton. He wants to play, but we were all on Long Island, and he was a bit more out in New York City. Right. And he's like, Colton doesn't want to come all the way to Long Island to play with a bunch of knuckleheads and 20-year-olds and stuff like that. So he's like, he'll meet us a little bit in the middle, kind of like in the Queens area of New York, and everyone was like, yeah, heck yeah, we're gonna do that. They could play with a former pro, have to do it. So yeah, we all agreed to go out to Queens. He was there, and it was just incredible. It was a once in a lifetime experience. I actually have his jersey, so I wore it. Of course, I had him sign it. It was so cool, man. It was a once in a lifetime experience.
Oh man, that is so dope. I'm gonna get back to some hockey questions, but I want to get to that shirt. What you got on that shirt right there? So
yeah,
a lot of schools in the United States of America. You could have did Syracuse. You could have did a school on the West Coast. So why Dan Patrick School of Sports Broadcasting?
So that's a great question, and I love talking about it because I feel like, and I'm so proud of our school and our program specifically. So I love talking about it, and I think it's just so funny to me how I got there, and I feel like some other people, after talking about it at Full Sail, people have similar stories. So for me, it was during COVID. I was working this job. I thought I was going to retire there, man. Like I just loved it. Great atmosphere. Love the people I worked with, but I was low man on the totem pole. So COVID hits, long story short, they let me go because, they had to make some cuts.
What was your career? What was your job?
It was just like some door-to-door sales kind of stuff.
Okay.
Just like home improvement kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But it was really fun. It was very positive. Everyone there was like really uplifting, which was something that I never really had at a job before. So I really, really liked that. But then after that, I was really down in the dumps. I was bummed out, and I was like, oh, what do I want to do?
Right.
So being on Long Island, I was a fisherman a lot. I fished a lot, and I lived by the water. I mean, it's hard not to live by the water on Long Island. I was about 20 minutes from like the nearest like dock and boating outing. So I was like, yeah, what the heck, let me just send something over there. See, I saw there was a boat that was hiring. Became a crew member. I started working on the boat. Loved it. I'm a people person, that. I talk to anybody. I could be friends with anybody. So it was really cool to just have that customer experience kind of thing. I have that customer service in me from working retail as like a teenager and stuff, and just love talking to people. And everyone there is there to fish. So I'm helping people. I'm seeing people get excited catching fish. It was so cool. Things there didn't work out again because of COVID. They had a lot of young kids that were there seasonally. Yeah. And when I told them I want to do this full time, they said, we can't give it to you right now, but once these kids go back to school, we can offer that to you.
Right.
Well, because it was COVID, a lot of the kids didn't go back to school. So they, started cutting my shifts and stuff like that. And I was like, I got bills to pay, so I was, really down in the dumps, really dark place. Cause now I lost 2 jobs because of COVID, and I was just unhappy. I was bouncing around jobs. I was tired of it. And I'm like, I got a late start to school. I'm 27, and I didn't want to go to college just to go to college. I didn't want to have another bill to pay, stuff like that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then, losing those 2 jobs, I was like, what, really sat down with myself and was like, what makes me happy? What am I passionate about? And my passion is sports, and especially hockey. So, I started looking up, research, and I heard of Full Sail because I'm a wrestling fan, of course. So I knew NXT was there with WWE. And I was always like, where Full Sail? Like, I never heard of it, of course, at that time, and never really thought about it until I thought about going for sportscasting. So I'm looking stuff up, and then I see Dan Patrick's name come up. I'm like, well, let's take a look into this. Right. I had a friend, Mike, who graduated from Full Sail. I think he was in sports management. So I call him up, and because I looked into the research. I called Full Sail, and I was, I asked them what was going on, give me some more information. And I called up my buddy Mike, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, like, is this worth it? Because this tuition ain't cheap, man. Like,
no, it ain't.
And I asked him, and he's like, if you're willing to work, you're willing to work your behind off, it's worth every single penny. And I was like, say less, man, because I know my work ethic. I'm going to give it, everything I got and then some. So the next couple of days, Full Sail called me, the admissions team called me, and we were on the phone for about 3 hours. And then the next thing you know, they're like, yeah, you're starting classes, online in 2 weeks. I was like, whoa. All right. So it was like that, man. It was like they kind of made the decision for me almost. And I'm really glad they did, because now that I went through the whole program, man, I have lifelong friends, some like so many other people now because of that. And that in and of itself is worth it.
I really appreciate that answer. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into the Full Sail aspect.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Afonso, to be honest with you. What would you tell that sportscaster who's in month 1 taking psychology of play and create a presentation to really expect in the program?
Oh, man, that's good. I think, and I don't know Alfonso's answer, so
no, I don't.
But shout out to Alfonso, great guy, and he's another one of those guys, lifelong friend because of this program. But to answer your question, I think And I was told this too, again, my buddy Mike and a lot of the instructors in the program will tell you this along the way. You're going to get out what you put in. So
Right.
if you put in 100% effort, you're going to get 100% of the rewards at the end of it. So you're working hard, and I know you do. You start to see those results. So I know for me, I go into it and I do intro to sportscasting, and that was the first time I ever sat at the desk, the lights, the cameras, everyone running around, and I was shook. I was scared. I'm not even gonna lie. I sit there and I get through it, and I'm like, that was great. That was awesome, and it gives you this rush once you get through a show, and it happens all the way through the entire program. At least it did for me. But that first show, I was like, man, that was awesome. I nailed it. I killed it. That was so good. And then you just start to continue through the program and you look back and you're like, wow, I've come so far. At that time, maybe that was good. But then you get to just even Mac, you get to Mac
Yeah.
McDonald's class. I think you're in there now,
Yeah, that's
right?
where I'm
And
at
it's
right
like,
now.
if you look back at your intro final, you'd probably be like, oh my God, I never want to see this again.
Yep. delete, 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 delete.
Exactly. And like, I think that is just so much credit to not only of course, the students that work hard to get to that, but
Right.
the instructors there. It's really incredible, truly incredible to learn from people that were in the industry. I think that's the most valuable thing from Full Sail.
So which class that when you were taking in the program, it made you realize like, yeah, this is something like I can really do this ish. Like what made you what class was that for you?
I really do think it was intro. Once I was in intro, once I sat at that desk and I got through it, I was like, this is it. I knew this was it. I knew that was it, and just kept on going. Of course, throughout the whole process, it's a journey, man.
Right.
There's ups and downs, higher and lower than the next, right? And the
Yep.
last one. So there are certainly times on the other end where I'm like, shoot, like, can I do this? Am I really like, for me, stand-ups were not my thing. And they still are rough.
I'm working on it right now, and
It's
it's tough.
it's tough, man. It's really tough. Put me at the desk, give me a prompter, and not to read it, but
Right.
I can go read the prompter and I can give that energy. But
Yes.
doing a stand-up, having a notebook in my hand with just some bullet points and trying to put everything together up here and relaying that to your words, for me, is so tough. It's so challenging. But what something you'll get to in Gordy's class, he's stand up every day, every assignment. And you got that in Mac too. You just finished Mac, or you're
I
just going
just
into
finished. I just
finished Mac. So yeah, it's similar to Mac's class, but like more advanced and stuff like that.
Right.
So for Gordy's class, he was saying, he challenged us at the very beginning, try and do it in 2 takes or less. And I was like, okay, for like the assignments and stuff. So I took that and I was like, all right, like, this is what I'm going to do. Whether I like the take or not, I'm going to submit that, because that is where I know I'm at. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm going to do it in 2 takes. I'm going to do it in full. Even if I mess up, the best thing that we were told is to just keep going. Go
Charlie
through
Mike.
it. Yep. Don't start over. Don't go back. It's still recording.
Right.
Just go, So I challenged myself. Well, Gordy challenged all of us, but I took it and I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. My homework assignments, I'm doing it 2 takes. That's it. I shout out to my girlfriend Danielle. She had helped me a lot. I used my headphones and I would have it in there as like an IFB. So I would have her count me down and stuff like that, and also give me the timing in the ear, because for Gordy's assignments, or not his assignments, excuse me, the activities and stuff, he'll do that. He'll tell you, bring your headphones. He's going to call you and implement that you're on a live shot. He's going to kick it to you and stuff like that. I had her do that, and it helped me so much. And having the time in your ear was really, really helpful. But just keep on going and sending out your best one. And for me, that's what helped me so much with those stand-ups.
Right. I be telling my boys about making a show, like the whole rundown. And I haven't even started getting sites in yet, to be honest with you. And so tell the people about a real process of making a show. Like I remember in Ready class, it took me 7 hours. And I can just imagine you doing sites, VOs, timesheets, cut sheets that I haven't even really started yet. Just give a little rundown on how it goes down to really making a show.
So it's funny because once I think we got to Jeff Radcliffe's class, so that's PMP6. So you're kind of far away from that. Yeah. That's when things really get heavy. Like that's when you're doing everything. You got to do the cut sheets, the nines. You got to do everything. And I think we were talking about that. Me and my classmates and I were talking about that. We were like, man, like I put in this amount of hours onto the show. I worked this day, all this, and you think about it at the end, and it's like, I worked 12 hours on this show for a 7-minute show. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes, when you think about it, it's like it doesn't really add up. But going back to like that intro feeling of that rush once you finish a show, or even when you like just preparing for it in the middle of it, right before you go out there, right before the camera starts rolling, you get that rush, you get excited, and then you just nail it, and I think that's the best reward. But to go through like the process of a show, it really is like an all day thing, especially when you have such freedom to do whatever story you want, like we do in Jeff's class, PNP6. You have so much freedom. So now you have to think about, okay, what story do I want to do? How do I want to do it? But he also gives you like, okay, pick whatever story you want, but give me X, Y, and Z. And you have to make sure your story has X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to find a spot for, whatever story it is. You got to find a, proper VO and stuff like that. But it's really like, it really can be an all day thing where you're just grinding, man, and for me, I would just get into a quiet space. Honestly, a lot of times I would go to Full Sail. I would go into the little conference room by the studio. I would go in there, I would have my headphones, I would sit in there, and I knew more often than not it was available, and I would go in there or the library if I needed to, and I would just zone out and just get it done.
The day you graduated, tell me the feeling. Tell me the feeling when you I remember that last assignment when I was working your last assignment and you had the talk show and you was like your personality and energy just so out there, bro. Like I really love that show.
But I have a picture from like a screenshot of from the video of that. It's actually the banner on my Twitter, Michael _Nistico, for anybody wondering.
Go ahead, plug in all your info. Go ahead.
It's the same on IG too, so you really only got to remember my first and last name. Just put the underscore in there, so make it easy for folks.
So tell me about the day of your graduation. Tell me about the graduation day.
Man, it was so surreal, and it really still feels surreal. And I think it's very fresh for me today, because I just finally put my diploma in a frame, and I'm looking at it right now. It's behind the camera. I'll show it.
Yeah, let's see that thing.
It takes forever for them to send it. So so don't be surprised when you're waiting a couple of months. I graduated September. I think I might have gotten it last month.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it takes a minute, but I finally got around to putting it in a frame. But that whole day, man, is so surreal, and it's so special, because for me, going through it with those three other guys, with AJ, with Alfonso, and with Zach, the four of us, we went through it the same exact time. Zach joined us a little later, but especially Alfonso, AJ, and myself, we were in intro together, and we didn't take any breaks. We did not stop. We were all pedal to the metal, and let's go. Let's get this done. And just like going back what I said before, there's so many peaks and valleys, and just to get to that day, you really think about all the stuff. You think about, at least for me, I thought about a lot of the troubling things that I went through, during the program, because there was a ton.
Oh,
And like you really think about that stuff, and you're like, wow, like I made it through all of that BS, and here I am now. I was the salutatorian, so like I was super proud of. Yeah, thank you. I was super proud of myself for that. And you just think about all the mess that you go through to get to that day, and you're like, man, like you feel unstoppable, that
right.
nothing can take you down. You know what I mean? I went through so much crap during my time there, and to be able to put it all behind me and be able to walk up on that stage, hear them say my name, see all my accolades up there, see my name up there, having your friends and family in the crowd, man. It's so surreal. I'm getting chills right now and goosebumps just thinking
I can
about
hear
it.
it in your voice. I just want to tell you, from me to you, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. But
thank you.
I didn't ask about your teams. How can we get to an interview and I don't ask about your favorite teams?
Of course.
Because I know we got like a little rivalry in baseball, but run me through all your teams in all sports.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll breeze right through baseball because I don't want to talk about it. Unfortunately, a Washington Nationals fan, but I still can't complain about them yet because they won the World Series in 2019. I have a 5-year rule. If they win a championship, you can't complain for 5 years. But man, let me tell you, these Nationals are certainly testing me. They are testing my patience with that, man. So, Washington Nationals fan. For baseball, football, I'm a Packers fan, Green Bay Packers fan. I don't really want to talk about that either.
I picked y'all to win the NFC this year on my podcast. So,
oh man, that's coming back to bite you, huh?
Oh yeah. I'm getting people be sending me clips in my DMs, be trolling me. So hey, shout out to the Snooty crew. But it's okay.
Yeah, that's I didn't expect them to have the year they're having now.
I agree.
But and of course they all want to talk about Devontae and him leaving and stuff like that. But to me, really, I don't think one person. I know he's an elite wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I really find it hard to believe that one player can affect your whole entire team. I don't buy that. Truthfully, I think people need to be looking at Rodgers a bit more because they're even on Monday night when they won, there were some plays, man, where I'm thinking, I scratch my head and like, what was he doing there? Get rid of the ball, or just bad throws. It's I don't know. It's been a weird time. It's going to be a very weird time because Rodgers is out the door soon, which is very sad. But I think it's time for him to go. Hockey, I'm a Rangers fan, of course. That's actually the only New York team that is my favorite team. Like I'll support the Jets and the Giants and stuff when they're not against the Packers, but like for like number one team, the Rangers are the only New York team, which is weird because I'm from New York. I don't follow the NBA all that much because it's at the same time as hockey season, so it's very tough for me to do both.
Got a cat jumping on me.
What's that?
That's it. Not a cat. My cat. My bad.
Oh yes, I saw the tail.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. Cats
gotta love it.
Gotta love everything. I got cats back home on Long Island, and
sure.
They would have been doing the same thing. We're all walking across the laptop and everything. But NBA, I'm a Bucks fan. I like the Bucks. Chris Middleton is my guy.
Middleton.
Believe it or not, I know obviously I love Giannis, but Chris Middleton was the guy that like that's when I was like, yeah, like this is my guy. This is my team. Like I was watching him. I remember it. I can't remember the year. It was before they won the finals. It was a playoff game. There was one year I was like, I'm really going to get into basketball this year.
Right.
I told myself I said it, I was going to do it the following year because it was playoffs time. But something about the Bucks I was always gravitated towards them for some reason. I don't know if it's because of the green, because green's my favorite color, but I felt like anytime, yeah, exactly.
The Bucks, clearly.
Anytime I watched a Knicks game, they were playing the Bucks. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's an Eastern Conference thing. I felt every Knicks game I watched, they were playing the Bucks, and the Bucks were smacking them up. No disrespect to the Knicks.
Right.
That's New York love. I give that. But I was watching a game. I think it was a game one of like the opening round of the playoffs against the Celtics. And I can't remember what year this was, but it was back and forth the entire time. Bucks were down by 3 with 0.7 of a second, so 0.7 on the clock, and I'm like, man, like they're gonna lose game one. That really sucks, Inbounds pass at center court, at half court. They inbounded to Middleton. I'm like, they can't get a shot off. He somehow catches it, gets the shot off, and hits it to sink it. And I was like, I've never been so excited about basketball in my life because, like, I'm going nuts. I'm out of my seat. I'm like, yeah, let's go. They go to overtime. They lost in overtime. But at that moment, I was like, after like I was done yelling and out of my excitement, I sat back down and I was like, I just got that excited over basketball. And I'm like, this is it. If I'm this passionate right now, Chris Middleton's my guy, the Bucks are my team, and I'm going with it. So I want to say that was like 2017.
Okay.
It was around that time. But when Middleton hit that, I was like, yep, that's my guy. That's my guy right there.
Shout out to the Bucks game, my boy Michael Fan. But I'm going back to the hockey world though. I know it's a college called RUTGERS.
Yes.
And I know you do some calling for them. Tell me what's up with that.
Yes, sir. So I just started with them this season. They're D1 hockey team. Thank you, which is incredible. It's crazy. I actually reached out to them, and which is something I'll get to. I had put a video on the Facebook group for the Dan Patrick students, and after I got that, and I was like, guys, just reach out to people. You never know. They had no application out. There was nothing out on Indeed, on their website, social media, none of it. But I took it upon myself to reach out to them. I knew I was close. I'm about 30 minutes from Rutgers, where I'm staying here in New Jersey.
Right.
I reached out and I said, who I am, where I graduated. I attached my resume, gave them a link for my reel.
Right.
And I was like, if you guys are looking for a play-by-play guy for your upcoming season, I would love to help out however I can. Left it at that. 20 minutes later, no joke, 20 minutes later, 2-0, 20 minutes later, the head coach emails me back and says, if you can give me a call this afternoon, that would be great. We've been looking for a play-by-play guy.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa. Like, I did not expect this. So I'm like, yeah, I'm dropping everything. Whatever I got going on for the rest of the day. Hold on. It's going to be pushed back a little because I got to call Rutgers head coach right now. Right. So I call him up. We're talking. And, I told them, who I am. I told them I did stuff for Rollins when I was down there. I told them I've been doing play-by-play for another hockey team in the EHL, Eastern Hockey League, Team Maryland. And this was the coolest thing, man. This was so rewarding. I told him about that, and he was like, yeah, I know. I've heard you calling their games, and you're really good. We would love to have you for the whole season. And I was like, what? I'm like, yes, whatever it is, yes. So I do all their home games because they travel kind of far sometimes, but a lot of the arenas they go to only have like one booth set up, and I think how their division is lined up, the home team is responsible for the broadcast, so they don't have the room for two. But he's like, if there's ever an arena where we can get you set up too, we'll do it. And I'm like, sure, they'll travel, they'll get me on the bus with them. Sure, fine.
Yeah.
But that was the thing, man. Like I reached out. I didn't know they had the opening, and that's something my mom had just told me too, actually, very recently, as like I think last week. She was like, just send your stuff out, send your resume to people, find the person to contact. If there's a director or assistant director of whatever the team is or the program, if it's a school, reach out to them, send an email, and give them your resume, give them your reel right there. And she works in a hospital, and when she got her job, she's been there for I think like 15 plus years. She's been there for a minute. They weren't applying. She did that exact thing,
Same thing.
sent them the resume without them looking for an applicant, and then they called her. They hold on to that stuff. So it might not be open now, but if you send them your stuff, they're going to hold on to that. If they're impressed, they're going to be like, okay, you know what? Like, we don't have like an opening right now, but like, let's remember this cat, let's remember this guy, Rodney. Let's remember this guy, Mike, because we're going to hold on to this. Something may happen. They call you up and say, hey, we got your stuff here, and then go from there. But that's the biggest thing. And I've done it hundreds of times already. Reach out to people. The worst thing that can happen is they don't answer.
Right.
Then you're at the same spot you were before you sent it. If they don't answer, that sucks. You tip your cap and you go on to the next one. If they say no, to me, I've gotten no's, and I like a no better than no answer, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
They took the time out of the day to reply to my email, my request, my message, whatever the case it was. They took the time out of their day to send me something. And even if it's as much as a copy paste, they still took time out of the day to copy and paste that email to me. And I'll say, thank you, thank you for your time. If there's anything else, that comes up, I would love to, help out. And then that's it, and then something like Rutgers could happen where they're looking for it, and it falls right in your lap. So it's, I think, a low risk, high reward type of thing to do.
Yeah. What really gravitated me to you was when you went on live on Instagram one day and talked about mental health awareness. As a soldier who deployed, went to Afghanistan, and got my own trauma with PTSD, tell me about the importance of the mental health aspect to you.
Oh, man. And first of all, I know I've said this to you multiple times. Thank you for your service. And thank you to anybody that's listening to this for your service, whether, any form of military, police officers, and nurses too. Shout out to the nurses and the doctors. They're frontline workers too. So shout out to all those people, and thank everyone for their service for that. But yeah, man, mental health is always something that I stand for, and I always will stand for it. The importance of it is, I don't even think I could put it in a word, or put words into how important it truly is, especially for us guys. And I'm not taking anything away from women that go through stuff. Women go through it just as much as men.
Yeah.
But there's some kind of stigma about men and mental health, and it just needs to go away, because it's a load of BS. And the fact that, I don't know what exactly it is, it's just whatever this weird stigma is around mental health and men having it, thinking that, oh, they can't have it, they just man up and all this stuff, or men can't cry. I'm a Pisces. I cry at least once a week.
Pisces.
Yes, sir. Like, let's go. Like, so
emotions on our sleeves.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
is where our emotions is.
All the time, and I know it, and I embrace it. I know I'm an emotional guy, and I don't stay away from it at all. And I think if I would try to, I would fail miserably, because, like you said, we wear our emotions on our sleeves, and for me, I wear them on my face. It's in my face. It's in my voice. You can hear in my voice. My girlfriend knows I can get away with anything with her. So if I'm down, she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing." And then she's like, no, I can hear it in your voice. Something's wrong. I'm like, son of a, you know, like, so, you know, it's always, I can't hide anything. And not that I want to, I think earlier, like in my childhood, I would just power through and brush it away, brush it under the rug because of that stigma of, you know, you can't talk about it, or you're weak, or you're less of a man. And like, to that, I just say screw that, you know, because I think as a man, with mental health issues that I am more than open enough to talk about. Anybody
Right.
that's known me for 5 minutes knows I talk about my struggles and stuff. I think it makes you more of a man to come forward and say, hey, like, I'm going through this, you know, like, I'm going through it, but I'm still here. I'm still working. I'm still doing whatever it is that I'm doing, despite all of this other stuff that I have going on, you know, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's just in your head, whether there's stuff at home, no matter what it is. If a man comes forth, or a woman, anyone comes forth and says like, hey, I'm going through it, I applaud you, because it takes a lot to do that. I know it. I know you know it. A lot of people that come forward and say, you know, hey, I'm going through it. But I'm telling you, as someone who's done it, it feels so good to do. To just be candid and just open with the world, not even just like one friend or two friends where you call them and say, hey, I'm going through it. Like, I was on Instagram live. Like,
Yes.
I don't have millions of followers, but like, I'm live. There's,
Yeah.
you know, I have like 1,000 whatever followers, but obviously not all of them are on there. But the fact of it is, I'm live to the world, saying, looking into a camera and saying, hey, I'm a man and I have mental health problems. You know what I mean? And this is how I get through it and stuff like that, just to talk about the process of what to do and just like the daily grind. But I encourage anyone, like, it's not for everyone. I can 100% agree, or admit that it's not for everyone. I don't think everyone should do that, but I do think everyone should have at least one person to go to and be like, hey, like, I'm going through this right now. You know, I just need someone to talk to. Like, you don't have to say anything, just listen. You know, sometimes you just need someone to listen to
Right.
you going through your stuff, and just to get it out, you know. So whether that be a therapist or just a friend, anybody, I encourage, you know, people to get that out there, and especially men. And just for like that transition, I've said it before, I've said it at school when I was talking about it, I've said it on my lives, I am that person for anybody who needs it. So, you know, I've you know, I plugged my socials. It's Michael_Nistico.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna edit it all in there. I
It'll
got you.
be in there. But if there's really anyone going through it, by all means. I mean, I don't need to know you. Even if I do know you, great. You know what I mean? It's a confidential thing. You know, you can just talk to me, and I'm here. So that goes for anybody going through it, whether I know you or not. Even if I know you and we have bad blood, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's bigger than any kind of animosity that I may have with anybody. But if someone's going through it, by all means, I'm that person if you need someone to talk to.
And from man to man, I respect you the utmost for speaking up about mental health, and honestly, got me
Thank you.
the confidence to go back to going to sessions. To be honest with you, because when I moved to Florida, I stopped doing my therapy sessions, and seeing you going to live, kind of, you know, I just, you know, sit in the room, don't do nothing, or, you know, just stuff like that. But it got me to actually go back to therapy and actually get my feelings out, because I do write poetry also. But I'm
That's
gonna
good.
I'm gonna let you go with this right here. You know, Snooty Lounge podcast is for the kids. You know, I love them kids.
Me
What
too.
what is Michael's message to the kids? And I know you like the kids too. What's the message to the kids, Mr. Mike?
Oh, I love that you call me Mr. Mike. So I actually used to work with kids. Used to
Oh,
work at a daycare, and my name at the daycares was Mr. Mike. So I love that. I love that you said that, because you didn't know that,
I didn't
and
know. Yeah.
I love that you just said that. But Man, my message to kids, just that's a tough one, man.
I know.
You got me stumped here for that one. Just just I think what kind of age group are we speaking to? I guess
I
this really could
primarily,
go
I
for
mean, I interview kids as young as 6,
okay,
and some is as old as like middle school, high school. So around 6
okay,
to 17.
okay. All right, this works out perfect because for me, what I had realized after I graduated, and especially once I got to school, I wasn't a good kid in high school. I'll be very straight up. I was not a good kid. I was the class clown. I was more interested in making people laugh, trying to get girls, and not worry about homework or schoolwork at the time. Just didn't want to go to class, wander the halls, just interrupting, bothering people, whatever, just trying to be cool. You
Right.
know, if I could go back in time and do specifically high school all over again, I would, and I would do it completely different. I wouldn't worry about it. This sounds selfish, but trust me, it's not. I wouldn't worry about anyone else but me. I would go to school, I would get, do my homework, do my schoolwork, get good grades in school. And like, I know that sounds so cliche, especially to the kids that are listening, like get good grades, go to school, blah, blah, blah. Like everyone says that. But as someone who was that kid? I was that kid. Everyone told me go to school, do good, get good grades, go to college. And I didn't go to college right away. And I said that, and I'm very proud that I didn't. But I didn't go to high school, or I did. I graduated high school, obviously, but barely, trust me, barely made it through. I would say go back. Don't worry about trying like how many friends you have, especially nowadays with social media being as popular as it is.
Right.
Don't worry about how many followers you got on TikTok and Twitter, Instagram, and friends on Facebook and stuff like that. Screw all that. But if I'm remade all new social medias, and I'm telling you, I maybe have 5 people from high school that I would still talk to today.
Right.
But in high school, you're trying to just oh, I got 2,000 friends on Facebook. Well, how many do you talk to? How many of those people would you break bread with? How many of them would you sit down, have dinner with, talk about anything, talk about life? It's going to be like five or less. If you have more, great, more power to you. But I would go back and do it all over, and I wouldn't worry about anybody but myself. And again, I know it sounds selfish, but hear me out. The only person that's going to be there for you at the end of the day is you. You know what I mean? During high school, I immediately after I graduated, I moved to a different town on Long Island. I was about 30 minutes away. And I cannot tell you how many people fell off the face of the earth. It would be quicker for me to tell you how many people actually stuck around and that were still my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just from graduating and moving, half hour away.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, like people that I thought were, inseparable with, you get separated from them. It sucks. It happens. But if I could go back and I could just worry about me and not worrying about getting all those friends and trying to be cool and trying to be popular, I would 100% do that. Worry about yourself. Have a good, small circle. I think small circles are so much better than a big circle with 20 friends in the group and stuff like that. The type of friends that I like to just, if I can sit down with them and do nothing. Shout out to my friend Mark. He's one of my longest friends that I've had.
Mark.
And I can sit with Mark for days. I've literally stayed at his house for days, and we can just sit there, do our own thing on our phones,
Right.
have something on the TV in the background, whether it's sports, wrestling, a podcast, whatever it may be. We would sit there, and we are so happy to just be in each other's company. Those are the type of friends that I like. I don't want high maintenance friendships, oh, I need to text you every day just to tell you I ate a turkey sandwich for lunch, like forget that, like another friend, shout out to my friend Ronnie, him and I, and I tell him all the time, I suck at answering my phone, and he knows it, and he would rip me a new one right now. But him and I, another one that I've been friends with from before high school, middle school, we don't have to talk every day. We don't have to talk once a week. We don't have to talk once a month. If I see him call, I'm going to answer, and vice versa.
Right.
If as long as I'm like, if I'm able to, I'm going to answer it. And if I can't answer it, I see he called me, I'm going to shoot him a text and be like, hey, bro, sorry, I missed your call. Is everything good? But if I'm available, I'll pick up the phone and we'll be on the phone for like an hour or two, just catching up, shooting the stuff. I don't want to curse, but we could do that. Those are the type of friendships that I value the most. So to wrap that all up, I know I just kind of just ramble.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Worry about yourself, do well in school, find a passion, find what it makes you passionate, because I think that will be able to, then you won't have to worry about taking this time off from high school and then work some BS retail job, because they all suck. Don't do it. If you can not work retail, don't do it. If you find a passion, do it. I just do that. Look into it. What do I have to do to become this? What do I have to do to become that? Where do I have to go? What are the best schools? Stuff like that. And then reach out to people that that have gone through that. Like I said, my friend Mike went to Full Sail. He wasn't in the same program, but he went to Full Sail. I was able to say, hey, man, like, is this worth it? Find those people and keep those people close for sure.
Sure. And there you have it, folks. Michael Nistico, Dan Petridge School of Broadcasting graduate, Rutgers D1 play-by-play caller, and all in all, a great man. And my last question: how many tattoos you got? How many tattoos?
Oh man, yeah, I'm inked up, man. Man, I lost count, dog. I really did. I think like 16, 17 or so. A lot. But and that's like the same thing with the passion with tattoos, is like, you gotta know, like that's permanent. That's on you forever. Right. It's like all of my tattoos have meaning. That'll be a separate episode of the podcast, because I can go on for that.
Well, you already know it's gonna be a part 2, so you're gonna have to come back again. So
you gotta have it. There we go.
Gotta have it.
But every tattoo has meaning. So, and I think for people that just get a tattoo just to get a tattoo, years down the road, you're like, man, I hate this tattoo. I don't feel that way about any of my tattoos, because every single one of them has meaning on it. And that's that. And the same thing with like I said, the passion. You find your passion, you got to know that's what you want to do for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like, a career is what you want to do for the rest of your life. So if you got that passion and you think about it and you think, yeah, I could see myself doing that for the rest of my life, go after it.
Sure. I appreciate your time. Keep doing what you got to do. And maybe I may have to sneak into a game one day and hear you call the game.
Yeah. If you're ever up in the tri-state, man, or in Maryland, because I'm in Maryland too. Yeah. But bigger and better things are certainly on the horizon for me, I'm sure. And same for you.
Take care, brother. Listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
shout
Rodney.
out to you, your family, man.
Thank you. You too. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Merry Christmas to you too, brother. All right. Yeah.